You're now watching a clip from the Inspired by show. You can watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or listen on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to head over there, leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it, and follow the show. You mentioned there about usually what I found is a lot of people that go through, alcohol or drugs or any sort of addiction, if you will, or connection to something. Like for me, it's like the same sort of thing. It was like I used to buy and invest in things because I felt like I was filling a hole. What hole were you trying to fill at that point? What would you find that it was like distracting you from or filling for you?
I was really depressed. I say it was like the happiest time of my life, but again, it was the worst time. Like in a space of 2 years, I'd like lost the people who brought me up. Like I had to move, so I lost friends. And even the place in Plymouth, it wasn't a great place. All right, it wasn't a mosque side. It wasn't people getting stabbed, killed, but there was still violence. Like a guy I lived with is now in jail for killing his girlfriend. So it's still not a nice place to be around. And I was like really, really lonely. I was really depressed. And like my girlfriend at the time was like very unfaithful. She was cheating a lot. And like, I remember one of the time I almost died from drugs. I took a legal high called like Pandora's Box. It's because I got a Snapchat off a guy who was like sleeping with my girlfriend, and he sent it to me. And I opened it. I was like, what? So I just Pandora's box through a bong, jumped out. And I was like, I don't know if you've ever done it. I would definitely never recommend doing it. It was the worst experience ever. Made you feel like you die. You know, when you die, they say you see like 7 minutes of your life. I was like feeling that. And somehow I jumped out of the top window of like a 3-story place. Didn't break anything miraculously.
Wow.
And just like landed on a street. And then I woke up by an ambulance. Like, yeah.
Wow. It's quite incredible when you think about it. Like, I'm a massive believer in when things happen, they happen. But actually, if things are meant to happen differently, they will. Like, we usually have something that changes us, something that like a moment where we have to sort of wake up and go, holy shit, this, I can't carry on like this. I'm curious for you, Liam. You're in this care environment. Yeah, okay, you've got the job and, things are looking up, but you're still in the same physical environment. There are things that maybe aren't going your way. Like you said, living with someone that's, in prison now. Was there ever a moment where you're like, is this me? Did you ever feel like you didn't fit in, or were there times where you're like,
No.
this is where I need to be?
I was always different. When I was like 16, I was always like misguided, but somehow I managed to be like really strong the older I got and like control my thoughts and my sort of, so like I would never hang around these people. Like, all right, you live with them, you see them, but I would make sure like I go out on a train and go to like Exeter and just stay there in a park to be away from them, because I was always scared that maybe I could go down the wrong path, but like didn't know how it would like end. I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah. It's quite interesting how we can be tempted by other people as well, right? Where, it's like, I don't want to hang around with those people. Like, one of the reasons why I personally have never done drugs is because I've got a very addictive personality, and I very much like, oh God, what if? It's almost too tempting, the fear of what could happen. I'm curious for you, when did this start to change? Was it a sudden thing where you're like, I'm changing my life, this is not going to happen to me anymore? Or was it a gradual thing that you kind of slowly grew out of?
The biggest change was that moment where like I thought I was dead. I thought I jumped out of I did jump out of a 3-story building. That not anymore, but I like occasionally did weed after that. Like, it's so weird because I never actually get addicted to anything. Like, I've smoked a lot, but I can stop like that. Like, it's always a choice for me. And okay, there are addicts, I'm sure, but from personal experience, I've never been addicted. Like weed, I smoke it because I enjoyed it. That was a choice. Maybe I'm proud, maybe I'm not. I don't regret it, but it was still a choice. But I could stop it like that. Falling out of that window is definitely a changing moment.
Wow.
Where I was like, nah, I can't do drugs anymore. I've had my wake up call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind at that point? So like you wake up in the ambulance from the hospital. What were you
I woke
thinking?
up on the floor with and I don't know what it is, but I have a photo of just like things strapped to my chest. I don't know what they were. I never actually asked, but I do remember ringing my dad for like the first time ever saying, "I'm really sorry. I love you." Because I thought I
Wow.
was dying.
My God. What did he say?
He was shocked. My dad's very like old school. Like he loves my brother, for example, to pieces. Like they get on so well. He will never say I love you. Like
Mm.
and that's really sad. Like from kids who just need love from their dad. But he's like really old school. It's how his dad brought him up, unfortunately. So yeah.
Like you say, it's how they've been brought up.
Yeah.
So you're lying on this floor. You've just had this big wake up call. What was your thought process then to actually start changing things?
I think the fear of death.
Mm.
Like I realized like I never cared about death before that. Now I'm petrified of it. Like like before that I would never care. Like it never crossed my
Mm.
mind. And then when I thought I like died, I was like, shit, this life is like so precious and like
Mm.
so valuable. And I am wasting it around these people doing these things and I just want to change. So I just obviously look, it wasn't overnight. I thought it straight away, but it took like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to like really start to change.
Mm.
But I think that was like the biggest wake up call being, and now still to this day, I remember that and I'm like, nah, I'm not dying to, I'm so careful in what I do. Like I'll always choose a really sensible seat on an aeroplane. If an
Mm.
aeroplane crashes, you can't do anything. But in my mind, it's like you've chosen the back seat, you're more likely to survive. I'll always sit at like the middle of a train because I'm just scared of like death now.
Wow. Yeah. Would you say it's because you've been, in your eyes, closer to it? Like you've had that almost like saving moment of like your life was saved because you didn't die jumping out of that window, which, let's be honest, like you say, miraculous.
Well, I could have. Like, I never actually asked what happened, but waking up with like heart things, maybe I did. Maybe my heart did stop.
Mm.
I don't actually know. It was a weird. I just remember blacking out, woke up on the floor. I watched the CCTV and I was like fully awake, but I wasn't. So it was like really weird.
Mm.